Good morning, everyone. Hope you're having a wonderful day so far. Today is Friday, January 26th, 2024. Welcome to the channel. If you are new, my name is Barrett. This is Flip with me. And if you are not new and you've been here, welcome back. Still Flip with me, and my name is still Barrett. So either way. Appreciate you stopping by. This channel is all about reselling, specifically on eBay, and even more specifically, it's my journey. It's basically a catalog of my journey to $100,000 in sales for this year, 2024. Started from scratch, and I'm trying to get to $100,000 in sales. That's gross sales. So if that's something that interests you, check out my other videos. I've gone over, how I started and where I am now. This particular video is about the 100-day challenge that I am currently running for myself. Today is technically day 7. This update will be through day 6. So that's what we're gonna do today. So we're going over the updates as far as how things are going with the 100-day challenge so far. Started on January 20th, today's the 26th, so the 20th through the 25th is 6 days. That's what we're gonna go over today. Going to specifically go over the numbers, compare the previous numbers of where I started with the challenge, current numbers, and then the difference in the overall business between the two. It's actually pretty eye-opening to me. I knew it would make a difference as far as, being consistent with my listing and everything like that. I wasn't sure exactly how much, but in 6 days, it's been pretty good. Let's get right into it, starting with the previous numbers. So last video I had for this challenge was going over the first 50 days, which was December 1st through January 20th. So I'm gonna go over those numbers just to recap them real quick. If you wanna check out that entire video, I go into way more depth than I'm going to right now. You can check that one out, but here we go. So I do have to check my notes from time to time. I can't remember all these numbers, so sorry if I'm not looking directly into the camera. So for the first 50 days, I listed 244 items. That was an average listing per day, 4.88 items. So I, on average, listed 4.88 items per day for the first 50 days. My total sales was $3,148 for the first 50 days, which came from 53 sales total. So in 50 days, I sold an average of 1.06 items per day. Average sales per day was $62.96, and the average sales price was $59.39 per item. So now for the last 6 days, since I started this challenge, total listed items are 60, so 10 per day. Obviously the average is 10 per day. Now from 4.88 to 10 is a 204% increase, which is obviously great. My total sales in the last 6 days is $705. Obviously, the average sales per day is 705 divided by 10 is $70.50. So that went up a pretty good amount. So yeah, about $7.54 per day extra. But the big thing is I've done 10 sales in the last 6 days, which is an average of 1.66 items per day. Coming up from 1.06 is a 56% increase, which is pretty damn good if you ask me. Obviously, because of the round numbers, the average sales price, $705 divided by 10 items that have sold is $70.50. Now, those are pretty good. So now the overall averages, I'm going to compare overall where I'm at compared to where I started for the first 50 days. So now my total items listed has been 304. The items listed per day went from 4.88, like I mentioned, up to 5.43. So that is about an 11% increase in just 6 days, which is pretty phenomenal. Total sales is $3,853, which is a 22% increase in the last 6 days. The average sales per day overall from 1.06 is now up to 1.13, which is a 0.6% increase. Obviously a 6-day time frame out of now 56 days. It's not going to be huge, but I like to see an increase there. And the average sales price has gone from $59.39 up to $61.16. Those are the numbers. I don't know if your mind is a little numb after that, but mine is. It's not a ton of numbers, but for me, it's about 7 o'clock in the morning on Friday. So it's a little early for math, but I also spent the last hour writing all this out and preparing for this video. So I've been up since 3. But anyway, those are the numbers. Some of them may seem, insignificant, inconsequential, small, things like that. But what I like about them is that they tell a story. This story is about progress and success in being consistent. The whole point of this challenge was to go from being inconsistent with my listing goal, which obviously by the numbers, I was only listing less than 5 per day. Now I'm 100% getting 10 per day. I have started the habit. I'm now in full swing. It doesn't feel as work-like as it did before, because I am one who actually loves a challenge. I like to challenge myself. I like to challenge myself against myself and against others if other people are in some sort of competition thing. I like that kind of atmosphere, which is maybe why I've gravitated towards sales in general over the years. But that's beside the point. Point I am getting to is it's a very small sample size, but it is, for me, it's proof of concept. And what I mean by that is I went from being inconsistent to now being consistent. I wanted to prove to myself and those of you who are, deciding to watch this, that being consistent on eBay is the way to go. I've heard it from other YouTubers for years that I've been following them. All of them have different strategies and mindsets and philosophies about this and theories and things like that. Whether it's the eBay algorithm or just, a multitude of other reasons, just getting yourself in the business mindset of showing up for work every day. Regardless of the reason, the consistency is key. Now, what this does for me is it makes me want to keep going. It makes me want to not only keep going, but ramp things up. I do have a plan for that. We'll talk about that in a minute. It's exciting for me. I mean, it's very small changes overall. I haven't, become a millionaire in the last 6 days, which kind of sucks, but, it is what it is. So, but what it has done is it's shown me the proof of concept, so I can, strategize how I want to do things going forward. The other thing that consistency affords me is if something either goes wrong or changes within my business or the numbers, I know certain things that I have been doing are exactly the same every single day. So if something is off, then I have something to fall back on too. And what I mean by that is I can compare segments of the business to others. I'm not being very descriptive about this, but basically by being consistent, I have the opportunity to see where the gaps may be. Whereas before I was so inconsistent, I couldn't tell why sales weren't going through, why one day I'd get 6 and then the next 4 days I'd get 0, things like that. There was no rhyme or reason to it. Now, at least I'm starting. I don't have, that kind of data yet, but at least I am on the path to being able to do so, which I think is pretty cool. And again, I love numbers, I love tracking things, I love all that kind of stuff. So the rest of my life outside of this for years I have the same routine every day. I eat the same things every day. I do basically the same things every day. And so if something is off and there's a variance of any kind, I can pinpoint exactly what happened and why. That's what I'm looking for in this business as well, because I don't want to guess. I don't like guessing. It's not comfortable for me, and it makes it very difficult to know what, if anything, to change. Some days are just going to be what they are, which is fine. That's part of any business. But basically, I just want to continue the consistency. That's really what it comes down to. On that note, because of this challenge, there are a couple numbers that stick out to me. Yes, a few of them are kind of small, but they all show progress in the right direction. The big one, obviously, is the listings per day went up 204%. That's the one I control. 4.88 is what I was averaging, doing it randomly when I felt like it. I am now averaging 10 per day, period. No ifs, ands, or buts. That's what I'm doing every single day. So that's the one I have control over. That's the one I expected to go up. So the 204% increase, while very large, was something that I planned on. That was the goal. So I have achieved the goal thus far. Still a big number, still really good, huge improvement from where I was. The second number is the number of sales per day. It went from 1.06 to 1.66, which is a 56% increase. Now, even though it's only a 6-day, 60 listing sample, as far as my consistency is concerned, a 56% increase in 6 days as far as how many sales per day I'm getting is pretty drastic. And what this does for me is it gives me enough information to basically let me know that it is working, which in turn gives me the motivation to keep going. Not only to keep going, but also to ramp up in the near future. Now that I have the proof of concept, like I said, it is time to ramp up. And there's two ways I plan on doing this. The first way, number one, is to start slowly ramping up the number of items I'm doing per day consistently. Right now I'm doing 10, and what I'm planning on doing, and what I'm going to do, not just plan, I'm going to do it, is every 10 days of this 100-day challenge, I am going to add one additional listing per day. So on day 11, I'll start listing 11 items per day instead of 10. So 11 days, 11 through 20, I'll be listing 11. Days 21 through 30, I'll be listing 12. And I'm going to keep doing this basically up through day 50 roughly, because I want to get to 15 listings per day instead of 10. Obviously, I want to do this, number one, because the more items listed that I have, the more opportunity, the more items that can potentially sell, basically. Obviously, that's a good thing. I want to sell stuff. If you've watched my other videos, I do have limited storage. I have more than I did before, which is phenomenal. I still have room to put, quite a few things, but I don't feel like holding on to inventory forever. So ramping up that. And then once I get to 15, I'm gonna probably stay there for the rest of this particular challenge. The reason being is sourcing is a little limited at this moment, being as though it's winter here in Washington State. Thankfully, in the area of Washington that I'm in, we don't get a lot of snow. When we do, it shuts down the entire area for days, but it's still cold. People aren't having yard sales. They're just not. There are a bunch of thrift stores in my area, the majority of which are Goodwills, the majority of which of those are overpriced for most items. So thrifting is a little bit of a challenge. There are a few places I go that are pretty good, but it seems like during the winter, people don't donate as much either because it is cold and they don't want to go out even to the store to go donate stuff for whatever reason. So anyway, thrifting is, it's still viable. I still find things. It's just slower. I can't guarantee. I don't want to have a listing goal so high that I don't have enough and then I break my inconsistency. So I believe that, 15 items per day listing goal. I can, between the thrift stores, one-off marketplace deals, liquidation sales of random stores that, you know, are going out of business. There's a handful of them right now, which I'm going to be hopefully checking out in the next week or two. There's still opportunity to get, I assume, up to 15 items per day that I can purchase so I can sell. So that wraps up reason number one and plan number one for how I'm going to ramp up. Number two, speaking of sourcing, is I want to start sourcing higher quality and faster selling items than I currently possess. Now I have some of those as well. Some of them have sold, but I have some good ones right now. I have watchers on a bunch of things, so I know they're going to sell. However, because of how I've purchased and obtained a lot of the things that I currently have, again, I mentioned this in a couple of my other videos. There's a store going out of business and everything was, it started at $10, fill a bag, ended up being free a week later. I filled my entire car, so I have a bunch of stuff that I got for free. So I can't really complain because the price was right. However, it is much slower moving items, ceramics, porcelain, glassware, knickknacks, things like that. I mean, some of them are very nice, you know, name brands, you know, Fitz and Floyd, Lennox, Dansk, you know, things like that. I mean, there's some good stuff, but it's not stuff that just flies off the shelves. So my goal when I purchase items is to buy faster selling and higher quality items. That being said, the ones I have purchased so far, such as electronics, like I have a few receivers right now, but a handful of those receivers have already sold pretty quickly. Usually within a couple of days of listing them, they're gone. So I want to look for more things like that, just faster selling items. And by higher quality, I just mean faster selling items, more sought after items. That's kind of the second part of how I plan on ramping up as well. A note on that is my average sales price is hovering right around the $60 mark, which is fantastic. I am not complaining about that. In the event that I start selling more, which is my plan, I don't mind if that dips a little bit, for the simple fact that I just want to move stuff in and out as fast as I possibly can. I don't know anybody who likes sitting on things for years, you know, unless it's a one-of-a-kind, super expensive, one-off, you know, multi-$1,000 item, which I don't currently possess any of those. But if so, I wouldn't mind waiting longer. But overall, you know, average sales price is not something I am tracking it just so I know what it is. It's not something I'm super concerned with until I get down toward, if I ever get down towards like the $30 mark. I'd really like to stay over that, preferably. And ideally over the $40 mark. That's where I want to be. Right now I'm at 60, which is a great place to be, but things are moving a little slow because of the type of items that they are. So that's those are the two things that I'm planning on doing and I'm going to do as far as ramping up. So with all that being said, my biggest focus going forward is following through with my ramp up of the listings of one extra per day every 10 days. And obviously I'm going to keep posting videos about this series. Number one, it's mainly to catalog it for myself. You guys who are watching, I appreciate it, and I'm glad you're coming along for the journey. But I want to make sure that I keep myself accountable as well, and these videos are helping me do that. Biggest focus is just obtaining higher quality, faster selling items, especially since I'll actually be paying for them instead of getting a bunch of free inventory, which, hey, if that happens again, I'm okay with having some slower stuff too, but ideally, I'd like to find larger lots of stuff. I don't like the onesie-twosie. So I'm gonna try and focus on those. I wanna stay away from pallets. I'm not interested in those. Not really interested in storage lockers for the simple fact I don't have the means to store everything or transport. I have a car, not a truck. I'm not renting trucks. I don't want the added cost or expense. So Big focus is obtaining better inventory, obviously at a good price, faster sell-through rate, move through inventory, get the sales pumping, and get my store really, really going by the time yard sale season comes around, when inventory should be much simpler to obtain. So that wraps up the update on the 100-day challenge. Appreciate you guys stopping by. If you happen to enjoy this video in any way, please do me a favor, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, maybe even share this with someone who, is interested in this kind of stuff too. I'm going to encourage you all again, anyone who is a reseller, follow me along with this, challenge yourself. Doesn't have to be exactly the numbers I'm doing. Everyone's business is different. Everyone's time is different. Don't expect that. But hey, if you are doing any sort of challenge or holding yourself accountable or anything, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. I'd love to know that there are other people out there, really trying to grow their business and do something good for themselves and their family. So yeah, I'd love to hear about it. Please hit me up and let me know. I will respond to every single comment. I enjoy it. It's one of my favorite pastimes, so hit me up. Lastly, as always, I really appreciate you guys stopping by. I don't think you truly understand how much it means to me. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. It's amazing to see anyone watching my videos. I'm just some random dude in a garage at this point. And, I hope to grow this a little bit from here, but it's been a cool journey so far over the last, 20 something days-ish. I don't remember I think the 3rd was when I posted my first video. So yeah, 23 days-ish. But I appreciate it. It means a lot to me. It shows that, someone's getting some value out of it. I'd like to, as I've mentioned in my previous videos, I'd love to build a community of resellers. I know there's a community of resellers out there. I'd love to be a part of it. And I'd love for you guys to be a part of it too. So again, thank you very, very, very much from the bottom of my heart for stopping by, taking the time out of your busy schedules to watch this. And if you do like, subscribe, comment, I appreciate that as well. So thank you so much. And I will see you guys very soon. Thanks.